Now, locally, I spent some time today with John Davis. He's a veteran history professor on the college level, and he tells me that unlike what you may have heard, critical race theory really is nothing new. John Davis is a veteran history professor and says critical race theory is nothing new.
This has been around as long as there's been people, you know. So, no, it's not a new phenomenon at all. It's nothing that we have not been already wrestling with. It has evolved slowly, and that it suddenly becomes a crisis, I don't see the crisis.
Davis says to ignore or diminish the race component in the building of America is akin to dismissing our origins and how we got here.
There was a desire, and I emphasize desire, rather than need for labor. You had this need for labor, or the desire for labor, I should say, in America, where you had all this land. It was sort of a new problem, and you had all these African slaves coming in after 1619, and so this changed the legal infrastructure. There's no doubt about that.
Davis has taught critical race theory in the classroom from the beginning and says it's important to learn about other cultures and our society's treatment of such to allow young adults to draw their own conclusions.
Race is one of the major ways of looking at history and making sense of it, just as gender is, just as economics is. I don't see any problem with it. Certainly among the upper level high school students, I would say not a problem at all. And many of them come into my class and they know this. They've been taught it. They're not fanatics. They're not racist. They're not haters of the system. Nobody hates America because of this.
Well, so what do people for and against CRT believe? Let's break that down. First, opponents. They say concepts like systemic racism put students in a mindset of either victim or oppressor. Others have said limiting what teachers can teach is anti-American in and of itself. A debate that doesn't appear to be going away anytime soon, as proponents for it say there is a difference between teaching actual CRT to students, which in most cases isn't happening, and banning discussions on racism.
It's important for them to learn that racism exists, because we see there's, studies and reports about, children as young as 5 years old who are experiencing racism in the school.
Psychologists say it's important for teachers to understand CRT as they foster the next generation of doctors, bankers, the people who will one day decide whether a certain business will be approved for a loan or who gets what kind of medical attention. Much of the nation's debate isn't at the collegiate level, but is centered on whether CRT or anything close to it should be used in lessons for middle schoolers or even in high schoolers.